Hello and a very warm welcome to you. This is You.Gov and it's all about you and the government. Indeed, we talk about government functions, responsibilities, as well as your corresponding obligation as a citizen. I always like to remind you that you have a role to play in the growth and development of your nation. I am Itohan Olomu-Agbodo. We'll go on a quick break. We'll be right back. Xenophobia is generally defined as the fear, hatred, or mistrust of that which is foreign, especially strangers or people from different countries or cultures. It is an unreasonable fear of that which is strange. Sometimes xenophobia and nationalism can be seen as a reaction to the rise of globalization. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, and other stakeholders in Nigeria have met to discuss this trend. More to come on the show.
Now on StarTimes Channel 465 is your #1 Christian and lifestyle channel, Love World Plus, meeting all your entertainment needs. Trending, dedications, joyride, celebrity lounge, video tales, and so much more. For those of you who love current affairs, we've got you covered. News focus, strictly politics, the agenda, You.Gov, and so on. Be sure to always be in the know with our informative programs, as we also get you settled with amazing documentaries like A Day in Your Neighborhood, Discover Africa. These will blow your mind. The youths and kids are not left out, as we have created a platform for them to speak, learn, and have fun. And to crown it all, we serve fresh, hot, and sizzling foods to feed your spirit, soul, and body. That is Pastor's Programs. There's never a dull moment with us. So make it a date on Channel 465 as we take you on a smooth journey to cater to all your needs. Love World Plus, Channel 465 on StarTimes.
You're welcome back. If you just joined us, this is You.Gov, and it's all about you and the government. We talk about government functions, policies, and politics, as it were. And of recent, a lot of things have been happening both in Nigeria and outside the shores of this great country. Recently, we've heard of xenophobic attacks against Nigerians in South Africa, and that seemed to be very unfortunate because both nations have had a long-standing history of cordial relationship. Although xenophobia had arisen a number of years before, we felt the government of South Africa should have addressed this issue differently. But what are Nigerians saying about this issue? We want to go on the streets. We'll be right back.
Killing human beings is not proper in any situation at all. It shouldn't be. Whether xenophobia, S-men or kidnapping or whatever, all those vices are not good. But the point is this: government should be able to come up with a quick response because it involves lives.
It is very, very unfortunate that such a thing is happening in South Africa. How I wish that Nelson Mandela is alive today to see what is happening in that country called South Africa. But it's very, very unfortunate that that's the situation we find ourselves in right now. But be that as it may, we urge our federal government, our president, to take necessary actions. All diplomatic measures should be taken so that the issue can be resolved. But our president should take his decisions, and the issue is not resolved, maybe watch Nigerian citizens in South Africa, if it is possible, for them to come back home. For the meantime, parenting will be over.
Shouldn't be a thing to be debated about. Violence is not an approach to anything, in any way. If they're acting like animals, they're barbaric, we shouldn't do the same as well. We shouldn't return the favor. Rather, instead, we should get much more enlightened. A lot of people are looting stores that are probably owned by ShopRite and ShopRite, Pep, and some other ones. But most of the products in there are for Nigerians. So if they're destroying Nigerians over there and we are destroying Nigerians here, we're fighting ourselves. So the way out is all peace, and the government should reach a compromise with that of South Africa.
While Nigerians are not happy about the developments and they've shared their honest opinions about the xenophobic attacks in South Africa. But we have some more reactions from the government side of it. We've heard of Vice President Osinbajo talking about the developments and expressing his reaction, condemning the attacks on Nigerians in South Africa. We also had the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Onyema, talking about the issue and also commenting about the need for compensation, which some people have reacted fiercely against. We also had President Cyril Ramaphosa of South Africa commenting on the attacks. So we're going to take a listen to all these sound bites from these various leaders. We'll be right back.
This recent attack is again a condemnable act. It is very sad and very unfortunate that the lives and livelihoods of Nigerians living in South Africa is once again being destroyed with such wantonness and with such carelessness and recklessness. It's very, very sad indeed. And again, I think it's unfortunate. Nigeria has invested a great deal, not only in the destruction of apartheid, in the pulling down of apartheid, but again, this is all contrary even to the very ideas that all of the great leaders of South Africa fought for, including the current president. You know, this level of bigotry, this sort of bigotry is just terrible and is so completely unacceptable. I believe that Mr. President has already spoken about this. Obviously, we're very concerned about this, and we certainly intend to take this up with the authorities in South Africa and to ensure that this sort of thing does not repeat itself.
The South African government has issued a statement, and the head of mission will himself give you information on that. Arrests have been made, but for us, Nigerian government, we are determined that we should not have any recurrence of this going forward. So we have to put in place, we must put in place, and we will put in place mechanisms to ensure that these do not recur. We've made very concrete proposals to the South African government, and we believe that if those measures are implemented, we have a very, very good chance of ensuring that this does not recur. In the first place, we have to address the issue of compensation. There has to be accountability and there has to be responsibility for compensating all those Nigerians that have suffered loss. And we are going to absolutely push for that. And secondly, we believe that, but I will not go into that much detail on that, but that the two security forces, South African and Nigerian, we can have an arrangement where there will be cooperation on the ground in South Africa to arrest such events and occurrences.
I've directed the Minister of Police to have a meeting at hostels with the Indunas, because this violence is now mutating and taking different forms that represent themselves in a way that we do not want to see in South Africa, where communities seem to be attacking one another. So we want this to stop, and I want it to stop immediately. The people of our country want to live in harmony, and whatever grievance and concerns that people have, we need to handle it in a democratic way. We need to handle it by discussing concerns and problems that we may have. And we've done so very well in the past on a number of other very difficult issues. And this is precisely what we should continue doing. So there is just no justification whatsoever for any South African to go out of their way to attack.
You're welcome back. This is still You.Gov, and we had various leaders talking about the xenophobic attacks, condemning it entirely. But we have another legal analyst who will be talking about the issue and talking about government's reaction to the state of affairs. He is John Femi Aino. He's a legal practitioner based in Nigeria and also in the UK, who will be sharing his opinion about these recent developments and reacting passionately about government's response. Take a listen.
Yes, especially with the one in South Africa. It's quite unfortunate. It's uncalled for, and there's no niche for that. But at the same time, I blame the South African government, and at the same time, I blame the Nigerian government. I blame the South African government on the basis that, number one, they need to start treating this attack on foreigners as a hate crime. And all the perpetrators must be apprehended and dealt with in a very robust manner. The moment you start doing that, definitely, maybe that will help in a way. The second point is that all these police officers, immigration officers, and what have you in South Africa, you need to send them on equality course, equal opportunity treatment of citizens, of people, irrespective of their nationality, irrespective of their sexual orientation, gender, and what have you, in order to erase this inbuilt prejudice against certain people. And on the other hand, the South African government, they are under a duty to engage in what is called a regeneration program. Because once you realize that there is a slum somewhere, and there's this high concentration of criminals in that area, you need to regenerate the area so that they can have opportunity, they can be busy. If you have a society where able-bodied men has nowhere to go in the morning, and they have nothing to engage their mind, they will take into any criminal behavior that is available. So that is there. And the Nigerian government too, the concept of citizenship in this country needs to be refined. Nobody, you see, once you leave the shore of your country to another country, your country is under a duty as a citizen of that country to protect you, to support you, and to see you through any problem which you have in that country. That is why you have embassy, you have high commission in those countries where you can go to. And the younger generation in South Africa, the problem we have is that they don't even know Nigerian contribution to the freedom they enjoy now. And the Nigerian government needs to either we publish a book, Apartheid, Nigeria Involvement. The species delivered by some of our former leaders, we put it there. We can ask the South African government that we are going to distribute this free of charge to all the schools in South Africa. By the time you educate them, if you go to Sierra Leone today, you will see people who will appreciate you as a Nigerian, that, oh, during the Civil War, Nigerian soldiers came and they helped us. If you go to Liberia, you still enjoy that goodwill, whereby they will show that appreciation to you. But this younger generation in South Africa, they don't even know our involvement. What they see is that we are coming to take their job, we are coming to take their women and what have you. That is another problem. And what the other alternative is to engage in what you call a dispersal program. whereby you don't let a high concentration of an ethnic group in an area. Otherwise, if care is not taken, that can generate tension between the indigenous population and the foreigner. And that is what is happening in South Africa. Because if you have Nigerians running 80% of them in a particular area, running a business, and all of them are into this and that, definitely there might be tension. I'm not talking about those who are dealing in drug and what have you. And what is going on in South Africa now, there should be a commission so that we get to the bottom. Because there's this side of argument that is a drug-related incident, or it may well be people who are not happy that Nigerian businesses are thriving and the local population, they are not doing well, and they are instigating this. And political leaders also need to watch their rhetorics so that they don't fuel prejudice against immigrants. I don't think it's not totally adequate for now. And you can see the minister talking about compensation. We are not talking about compensation. You see, no matter what you pay, that's not going to bring these people back to life. That is one thing. And the people don't want compensation. Some of them want justice. Some of them want action so that it doesn't occur again. And what the minister said, that the Nigerian police will liaise with their counterparts in South Africa and what have you. You see, under international law, that's what they call juxtaposed crime fighting, whereby the police in your country join that of the foreign country and what have you. But in a country where there is a prejudice against your national, will they be able to work together? That's another issue. What we need to do is that I'm not for all this tit for tat attack going on here and there. That's not the issue. Nigeria needs to send a powerful message that, look, our citizens have rights. And we are under a duty. It's part of our state responsibility to protect that right. And also, this diaspora commission in Abuja, they need to be robust too. Then we can even have some charities that fight for rights of Nigerians abroad. Maybe we want to call it Nigerian First or something. Because some of the, even in the UK, they have a charity called Fair Trials Abroad. Anything that happened to a British citizen, they step in and they help them and get them through the legal process. So there are a lot of things on the menu. But for now, it is now you can send as many envoys as possible. If you don't take a robust approach, regeneration, social integration, all these things are what will erase prejudice. You can even organize a football match between the local population and the indigenous population. You can organize a cultural day. All these things can erase prejudice. When we were younger, when the Muslims are doing their festival, we just go there and eat. When it is December, they come to our house and eat. By now, that helps to erase prejudice, and it helps social integration and cohesion. That's the way to go.
Quite interesting. That was John Femi Aino talking about the government's response to these attacks. But we want to go on a quick break. We still have him standing by. We'll be right back with that interview. Stay with us. You're welcome back. This is still You.Gov. If you just joined us, we've been talking about the government's response to the recent xenophobic attacks against Nigerians in South Africa. And a legal practitioner, John Femi Aino, has been giving his opinion about government response to this issue. And now he's going to be responding to the question about how he believes or how he thinks Nigerians would rather take their chances in South Africa than come home to face the reality in Nigeria. Take a listen.
Well, it's true because, maybe I won't be here talking to you today if I didn't travel. Because at the time I finished at the Polytechnic in Nigeria in those days, I don't have a job. I just sit in the morning. And in Nigeria, if you have no job, you are like a community messenger. If that woman come, help me get 2 bags of rice, this and that. If people fight, they come and say, what happened between Mr. X and what have you. It was very stressful for me until I managed to get myself out of the country and study law, this and that. So I'm not going to advise anybody to travel. Neither am I going to advise people go back. You see, government needs to live up to their responsibility if you don't want your citizens to travel out of the country. And I've said this, and I'm repeating it for the sake of emphasis. You must give your citizens opportunity. Once they come out of university, they don't get a job. It causes all sorts of issues. You understand me? And you are giving them minimum wage. What is minimum wage? Do you understand me? You need to pay what is called a living wage. Now, in Nigeria now, from the next few weeks now, the bread and water month is going to start because parents have paid school fees. It's a back-to-school season. So they won't have anything until October because of the substantial amount which has been paid out. And it's not supposed to be. If the public schools are working, will that happen? And then you are now sending a plane to South Africa to come and bring them back to a country where you can't even protect them against kidnapper, to a country whereby the salaries are being delayed, to a country where people are being killed by stray bullets. Even if I'm there and you send the plane, I will just say goodbye, I'm not coming. It still boils down to equal opportunity. If they used to have opportunity in their country, they will not look outside. Let's just be realistic. You see, what people are looking for is job security. It's not about fighting Boko Haram alone. You understand me? You must create opportunity for business to thrive. You must create opportunity whereby the environment is conducive for people to live and stay. In this country, there are a lot of tension going on. People who don't even see their future in the country. And it's not supposed. It's not about giving trader money. It's not about minimum wage. You need to create an avenue where there will be opportunity. If you don't give it to them as a government, they must be able to create opportunity for themselves. Doctors will go abroad because they know they will be well paid, they will be appreciated, their job is secure, their life is secure. And that is not happening in Nigeria. And who wants to stay?
Quite interesting. Nigerians, some of them have already said they will be returning home, and we heard about over 400 people returning with the flight provided by Peace Airlines. And some of them are going to remain in South Africa. But should xenophobia continue? That is a big no. We seek peace. We want compromise. We want a situation where both nations can work together because the good of Africa is up to us as Africans. We cannot grow our nations. We cannot grow Africa with war, with xenophobia. Xenophobia is a no-no. And this time around, we are saying a big no to any form of barbaric attacks. Xenophobia must stop. We have some more tidbits for you. Well, that's as much we can take this week on You.Gov. I do hope you had an exciting time. We talked about xenophobia and we examined government's response to the attacks. And we are saying no to xenophobia. For comments, for updates, you can log on to our website on www.loverplus.tv. You can also reach us to the numbers that will be showing on your screen now and via our email at info@loverplus.org. I'm Itohan Olomu-Agbodo. Bye for now.